G'day, and welcome to a wide world of webinars, Goway style. My name is Don, Goway's in-house destination expert, and today's topic is...
Welcome back. My name is Don, or as they say in the Maldives, Maruwawa. The first thing to tackle in our module on the Maldives is how do you pronounce the Maldives? As you have heard, it is Maldives and not Maldives. Now that we have that sorted, let's move on to discovering what the Maldives are all about. Famous for secluded island stays, luxury overwater bungalows, pristine beaches, world-class diving, fine dining and romantic settings, the Maldives is all about the resort experience, and with over 120 resorts to choose from, most located on their own private atoll, there is truly something for everyone in the Maldives. Oh, what's that you ask? What is a private atoll?
Tell me, Don.
Well, let me show you.
It can take up to 30 million years to create an atoll. Here's how it happens. An atoll begins with an underwater volcano called a seamount. Over time, and many eruptions, the seamount grows until it rises above the water. Now, it's officially an island. As the corals grow, they form a fringing reef around the island. They're the most common type of reefs. The island, this dormant volcano, can start sinking, weighed down by the heavy reef and rock. As the island sinks, the corals remain, growing upwards. Eventually, a wide band of water called a lagoon forms between the reef and the land. The fringing reef has become a barrier reef. Millennia keep spinning by. The extinct volcano is now completely submerged, but the corals are still growing. As they break the surface of the water, they die, and their stony skeletons turn into sand and rubble mixed with coral and algae. Now, a coral rim surrounds a central lagoon. The reef has changed yet again into an atoll.
An atoll is a small flat ring shaped reef or island formed of coral and grouped in clusters. So basically a sophisticated word for an island, and the Maldives is made up of 1,192 coral islands grouped in a double chain of 26 atolls. Sounds pretty idyllic, right? An important bit of info about a stay in the Maldives. Each resort is on its own atoll, which means, in short, your Maldives experience is a private island experience, and as such, the Maldives is all about the resort. We will take a closer look at our preferred resorts in some of our later modules. So now we know what an atoll is, and by extension what the Maldives is, let's now look at where the Maldives is. Or is that are? It's so confusing. Is it singular or plural? I.e., do you say the Maldives is or the Maldives are? Well, actually, it's both, as the Maldives is a country. As such, it is and is. As the Maldives are also a collection of islands, they are also are. Short answer, the country, the islands are located
far, far away.
Well, not quite that far away, but most definitely they are far, far away and are the stuff that dreams are made of. Did you like geography and history in school? I did. So now you must hang in there with me a bit for some basic schooling in the nicest possible way. The chain of 26 atolls stretches across a territory spanning roughly 298 square kilometres, 115 square miles. The Maldives is one of the world's most geographically dispersed sovereign states, as well as the smallest Asian country. It is part of Asia. With an average ground elevation of 1.5 metres, 4 feet 11 inches above sea level, it is the world's lowest lying country, with even its highest natural point being one of the lowest in the world, at 5.1 meters, 17 feet above sea level. The first settlers of the Maldives were people known as Devis and came from the Kalabanga in India around 300 BC. The country followed Buddhist teachings until the last Buddhist king of the Maldives, Goway, converted to Islam in the year 1153. From the mid-16th century, the region came under the increasing influence of European colonial powers, with the Maldives becoming a British protectorate in 1887. Independence from the United Kingdom came in 1965, with the Presidential Republic being established in 1968. The country is currently again part of the British Commonwealth. According to the Ministry of Tourism, the emergence of tourism in 1972 transformed the economy, moving rapidly from dependence on fisheries to tourism. In just 3.5 decades, the industry became the main source of income, so tourism is vitally important to the Maldives. So a trip to the Maldives also most certainly puts money back into the local economy. So how do you get to these idyllic islands far, far away? The Maldives Chain is part of the Asian continent, situated in the Indian Ocean just south of India and Sri Lanka. There are no direct flights, however, from North America to the Maldives, so most flights go via Europe or the Middle East, with globetrotters finding Paris and Dubai the most popular choice. This can also equal a multi-country itinerary. There are many airlines to choose from, with our recommendations being Etihad and Emirates, both offering many departure gateways out of the US and Toronto for our Canadian travellers. Typically, the average globetrotter will spend 1 week in the Maldives, as many resorts have a 7-night minimum stay requirement, and their total trip length will be 10 to 12 days, depending on the stopover choice. Note, it takes 2 days to get there and 2 days to get back, and then maybe a stopover a day or two, or maybe even 5. When arriving, all international passengers arrive and will arrive into the capital of Mali, at Velana International Airport. On your arrival, you make your way through immigration, collect your baggage, and then obviously go through customs. When you walk out of customs and into the arrivals hall, you'll see many hotel kiosks standing by. Make your way to the kiosk of the hotel that you have booked or that Goway has booked for you. All the main hotels have their own kiosk. Once checked in, the ground representative will escort your clients to the transfer vehicle that will take them to their selected hotel or resort. This process is very easy and stress-free. Transfers are mandatory in the Maldives, and we will always recommend you pre-book them. This is not a destination where you can arrange your own Uber or Lyft or taxi on arrival. With that said, there are 3 transfer options to connect you to the island resorts. The options available are dependent on what hotel or resort that you have booked. Option 1, speedboat transfer. Really cool.
Hey!
Option 2, domestic flight. Flying is so passe these days. We here at Goway highly recommend the seaplane transfer. Which takes off and lands right on the water. Naturally, because that's why it's called a seaplane. See, I told you I was an expert. It's truly an exciting and special experience, not to mention those bragging rights, because that's what travel's all about, sort of. The transfer option is something you need to consider at the time of the quote, as it does impact the cost and may be a deciding factor in the resort your client ends up choosing. Another thing to be considered, and this is very important, are the international flight arrival and departure times. Seaplane transfers only operate during the daylight hours. Local aviation rules. 3 p.m. is the usual cut-off time for arrivals with same-day seaplane transfers. So if passengers have an evening flight arrival into Mali, they may be forced to take a speedboat transfer, and even if that's possible due to daylight hours once again. Or they might have to overnight in Malé for 1 night naturally and connect the following day to their chosen resort. Other things to consider when looking at a seaplane transfer. Most planes sit only about a maximum of 15 passengers. There are luggage restrictions. The standard is 20 kilos or 44 pounds of checked-in luggage and 5 kilos or 11 pounds of hand luggage per person, and it's always subject to change. Flight times from Malé to the main resorts is between 20 and 60 minutes, again all based on the resort chosen. Private charter flights can be arranged, and this would obviously be the ultimate VIP experience. Before we move on to some of the more sexy stuff, Maldives are sexy, we need to cover a few other basic things about this wonderful destination. A tourist visa is required. A 30-day visa is issued on arrival for Canadian and American passport holders. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. The Maldives can be visited year-round. There is a dry season and a wet season. Typically, the best weather is in the dry season, which is between November to April. December to March is the high season, with Christmas and New Year's being the peak season. This is usually a one-resort destination. What does that mean?
Tell me, Don.
Island hopping is not common because of the available infrastructure or lack thereof in respect to inter-island transfers. So while doable and you can forgo swimming between islands and resorts, it is not the norm to interconnect between different resorts in the Maldives. But as with all things Goway, if you or your clients need it, Goway can organize it. Goway is simply the best at creating tailor-made vacations. If staying at two different properties, clients would normally have to transfer back to Malé, then transfer onward to their next resort, even if that resort is nearby to the original resort. There are a few direct island connections, but usually everything channels through Malé. If globetrotters want true freedom to island hop, then I suggest you look at Thailand, the Galapagos, or Tahiti. Most accommodation available is 4 and 5 star. USD is the currency accepted at resorts as well as credit cards. Linguistically, the official language is Dihevi, or Maldivian.
The first word I'm going to teach you is how to say hello. The way you say hello is Alaikum Salam. The way you say friend is Ratepi. The third word I'm going to teach you is how to say beautiful. Reti. That is how you say beautiful. The fourth word I'm going to teach you is how to say love. Lobi. The last word I'm going to teach you is how to say goodbye. The way you say goodbye is Alava Dao.
Each area of the Maldives also has its own local dialect, with the standard dialect being that of the capital city, Malé. Many languages have influenced the development of Maldivian through the ages. They include Arabic, French, Persian, Portuguese, Hindustani and English. But don't fear, English is spoken widely throughout the islands. Some social etiquette considerations. Maldivians are very polite people and can often be quite shy if you meet them outside the resort environment. While used to foreigners, there are a few things that they'll appreciate. When meeting locals, shake hands with the men when you meet them. Local women do not generally shake hands. Eat with your right hand, and only when dining on an inhabited island, i.e. outside of the resort. The left hand is considered unclean, and while it can be used to cut food, it should not be used to move food to the mouth. This is a Muslim nation, so lifestyles on the resorts are what most North Americans are used to. Outside the resort, be aware of how conservative the islands are. Men should not walk around bare-chested, and women should wear long skirts and avoid low-cut tops. That is outside the resort area. So now you know where the Maldives is, how airport transfers work, how to eat and dress, and the other important stuff. Now, why should you recommend this destination to your clients? The Maldives is perfect for romance, luxury, special celebrations, divers, surfers, foodies and spa lovers. Now that's about 75% of your database and our database. This is not for clients looking for cultural immersion and cultural interactions. Send those clients basically to any other destination in Asia. This is also not for those clients on the tight budget, and definitely not for those short of time. It is an upmarket destination, but worth the splurge. And since it takes 2 days to get there from North America, planning needs to be based on clients having more than 10 days to spare to make it worth their while. There are also family-friendly and adult-only resort options in the Maldives, depending on what type of experience your client is after. You might be wondering, is the Maldives a foodie destination? I would say it is a foodie destination for those looking for the classier food experiences. There are no hands-on market visits and street food tastings here. And in turn, world-class dining experiences can be found in the Maldives, from underwater dining, romantic dinners on the beach to castaway gourmet picnics. Most resorts have multiple restaurants, bars and wine cellars on offer, so clients can enjoy a new dining experience each and every day, or night. Be sure to pack your fancy sundresses, cargo pants, button-down shirts and appetites, as dining will be a big part of your Maldives getaway. Speaking of dining, it's important to know about the different meal packages offered by the resorts in the Maldives. The meal packages offered vary by resort, so it's necessary to know that not all resorts offer the same options, and the all-inclusive options is not the status quo. So let's slow it down a bit and have a look at the dining options available for most resorts in the Maldives. I'm just going to use my notes here because I'm on holiday, I'm relaxing. Options are full breakfast. This one's pretty self-explanatory. You get a full breakfast. Half board, that is breakfast plus dinner. Full board, breakfast, lunch and dinner. Easy. All inclusive, now that's all meals and a selection of alcoholic beverages. To complicate things some more, some resorts have half board plus. Now that means it's a selection of beverages during dinner only. And even with the all-inclusive packages, certain resorts will not include all alcohol. Certain top shelf will be at an extra cost. So pretty self-explanatory and easy. But dining is a big element of a trip to the Maldives. Now, back to work. Of course, we always suggest you try and upsell the all-inclusive meal package if it is available at the resort. And if the passengers enjoy alcohol, and I mean, who wouldn't want alcohol included while they're staying in paradise? The all-in option to us is a no-brainer. Remember, your clients are going to a private island where they will most definitely be confined to the dining options offered by their chosen resort. So they'll be wining and dining at the resort with or without the meal plan option. It's much more carefree and convenient to have it pre-booked and prepaid and pre-sorted. Another reason to try and sell the all-inclusive plan is because food and drinks can get expensive buying it ad hoc, as this is not a budget destination. Don't forget that. To give you an idea, here are some average costs of items for sale, all in US dollars. Water, $9. A cocktail, $15 to $20. An appetizer, $30 to $50. A sharing platter, $180. All plus tax and gratuity of 22% is added on everything. So things can add up quickly. Remember, pre-booking, pre-arranging is the way to go. Everything is expensive because it's all shipped in. Now, we have to backtrack a bit to the part where I mentioned the Maldives was for surfers and divers. Do you remember that part? Oh, I remember. The Maldives is perfect for romance, luxury, special celebrations, divers, surfers, foodies and spa lovers. The Maldives is a marine paradise and there are many different types of water-based activities, but surfing and diving are perhaps the most well known. Since the Maldives benefits from the full exposure to the southern swells, it has excellent surfing conditions both in the north and the southern regions. For divers, you can dive with whale sharks, manta rays and reef sharks, and for the most part, all can be seen year-round. There are also multiple wreck dive sites, including a wreck that protrudes out of the water. An Instagram-worthy shot if there ever was one, and a bucket list item for those divers, for sure. All resorts that Goway work with have a patio dive center, which makes the Maldives a great place to learn how to dive as well. Ask about pre-purchasing a Learn How to Dive package. Globetrotters can also partake in snorkeling, paddleboarding, canoeing, windsurfing, parasailing, catamaran, sailing or big game fishing and other water-based activities, all based on what is offered at the resort. I should mention that Goway does not offer day tours in the Maldives because this destination is all about the resort experience. Of course, when booking, we need to know which type of activities your clients are interested in so we can be sure to send them to the right resort for their interests and expectations. And if they just want to relax on the beach or on their floaty by the pool, that's okay too. Through our following modules, we will delve deeper into each resort and what they can offer. Here is some general information on resort choices. Room types. The most idyllic room choices are definitely the overwater bungalows or villas. These usually have serene water views, a patio for sunbathing, and steps leading right into the Indian Ocean. We always suggest you start with this room type when speaking to your clients because it's often what people think about when they think of the Maldives. Plus, there are not many places in the world where you can have this experience. Tahiti being the other most famous destination. Overwater accommodations are usually at the top of the price range and may not be for everyone's price point. Most hotels, however, also offer on-island rooms as well, with the standard garden or beach views at a lower and more affordable cost. As well, there are multi-bedroom and suite options for families and groups. The Maldives is certainly a tropical paradise, unlike almost any other destination, and by now, you're probably ready to pack your bags and jump on a flight, right? Me too. We have a lot more to discover in the Maldives when we dive, dive, into the resort choices in the Maldives.
It's now question time.
It is time to get comfortable. Please fasten your seat.
This is your captain speaking. We know you have a choice when attending webinars. We hope that you found today's webinar fun and informative. We look forward to welcoming you back to our next webinar. Thank you all very much for signing in today. We appreciate the time that you take to listen in. Keep an eye out for more of Goway's wide world of webinars, or Goway www. And as always, hit the like button, share the video, and of course subscribe and hit the alerts button to stay up to date on all the latest, updates. Goway can be found at all these favorite social media channels. Until next time,